Good morning, Team Esteem. Welcome to another home workout recorded live from Rex's gym. Friendly reminder, you're a legend. Let's get into our warm-up. Back into the walks. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Now, I hope your upper body has recovered from yesterday's shoulder workout. Well, shoulder workout, but there was a little bit of shoulder burn on my side. Wonder how you're going. So if you did do the workout, let me know how the shoulders are feeling. Mine are fantastic. I'm feeling nice and pumped, ready for another session. Then, I've got some good news. Picked up a new timer from the studio yesterday, so there shouldn't be any more shenanigans with phones blacking out and all that sort of stuff. So you can just focus on some hard work. How good, just what you wanted. All right, into our hinges. Let's see how our balance is today. That was a great one. Let's, you can't finish on a terrible rep like that. There we go, much better. Let's not be lazy and do our reaches with this. All right. Actually have a little bit of a prep circuit for you. I'm going to go through this circuit 2 times. I'm probably just going to do a voiceover because I noticed I'm terrible at explaining stuff quickly, and I wonder why that is. Because nobody ever listens. So I'm just going to talk to you while I'm doing this. Hey everybody, this is Editor Rex talking you through this little prep circuit. We have dead bugs, slow, controlled dead bugs. We're going for 10 reps in total. By now you notice I've said this ad nauseum, but your goal is to keep the whole lower back on the ground. No liftage whatsoever. Once we've done 10 of these dead bugs, we're going to move into glute bridges. And here's how I want you to do it. Put your feet flat on the ground, hands on the ground, palms up to the ceiling. Engage your glutes, push your knees out, and then drive the hips up. We don't want to lose attention on the glutes, so keep squeezing them in as hard as you can. If you get to the top and you notice that there is less glute activation, it means you're probably starting to use your lower back. So you need more abs, and just pay attention of when those glutes are doing what they're supposed to do. Then we're going to hop on our feet for the hamstring to squat. So grab the front of your feet, drive your hips down, chest up, look up, and then drive your hips all the way up into a hamstring stretch. It's a good little mobility drill for the hips, but also for the upper back a little bit, learning to lift that chest up in the bottom position of a squat. We're doing 10 of these as well. Everything for 10. We have 2 rounds of this. So once you've done 10 squat to stands, we're going to go into our dead bugs again. Whole lower back on the ground. Slow and controlled. Focus on feeling those abs doing the work. Don't rush through this, guys. It's much more importanter that you do it well and that you do it fast. Anybody can do this fast. Not everybody can do this well. So if you get through these dead bugs and you go like, wow, I really didn't feel it in my abs at all, guess what? You're doing it wrong. Glute bridges, 10 reps. Again, awareness. Where do you feel it? I want you to feel it in your booty. And after 10 reps of that, we're going into one more round of our squat to stands. Hamstrings to groin. Like for me, this bottom position is mainly a groin stretch, so inside. What I'm actually doing on this second set, I'm moving my feet out a little bit just to get a slightly different stimulus. The wider your feet, the more of the insides of the legs you're going to stretch. Happy days, happy days. All right, guys, I'll catch you at the end of this little circle. Okie doke, that was our kind of preparation circuit. Shouldn't be hard, should just be something to get the body moving and get all the right bits and pieces activated. First circuit we're going to do today, the first working circuit we're going to do today. We're going to have split squats, regular split squats. Last week we did the Bulgarians for the third round, so this is going to be regular split squats. Going to take it back a little bit. Then we have push-ups. Your option is front foot elevated, or sorry, feet elevated push-ups, because there's no front foot. Again, talked about this on Sunday. If you have no other way of doing push-ups but on the knees, I'm okay with you doing it on the knees because it's better than nothing. But I much prefer you doing a hands elevated push-up. So if it's a little bit too hard for you to do push-ups, just the full on the toes, all the way down, all the way up, I'm absolutely fine with you doing a hand elevated push-up. It makes it easier, but you still get that strong core stimulus to train your body to hold that position. The full option for today is if you're keen for that, is do your feet elevated on the push-ups. And then we're going to finish up with a tall kneeling palloff press. Now this exercise is only for those who have like a rubber band of some sort. The palloff press, you're going to have the band on something sturdy at about hip height. This band is not cooperating with me. There we go. So we're going to have the band at about hip height when you're standing. We're going to perform this exercise in a tall kneeling position, which means knees, hips, shoulders are aligned. So we don't want to be here. And we're going to keep the hips and shoulders aligned as you press the band forward, ease it back, forward, ease it back. 10 on the one side, 10 on the other side. We're going to go through this circuit for a total of 6 minutes. 10 split squats each side, 10 feet elevated push-ups, and 10 palloff presses in a tall kneeling position each side. If you don't have a band, just take the palloff presses out of it and just do the split squats and the push-ups. They're going to be a great sort of stimulus as well. We've got a new one. Well, not a new one. It's always wondering if these things are going to turn on. I love this timer. They're not very reliable, which is the only downside. 6 minutes to go through this. So, if you have everything you need, let's get cracking, starting in 10. Best way to set up for the split squats, as we discussed before, in a down position, 90 degrees on the hips, 90 degrees on the front leg. 10 reps. Nice and slow, nice and controlled, especially on the way down. Hey guys, Editor Rex is back. Now, I don't want you to do this as fast as you can. I want you to stimulate the muscles as much as you can. Much more important to go slow and to work hard than to go fast and not get as much out of the exercise as you can. We're going into our push-ups. I'm going for the feet elevated option, which is the hard option here. It is similar to that pike push-up, just slightly different. Just focus on keeping your abs nice and tight, glutes on, and work through that range of motion, work the upper body hard. 10 reps, like I said, you can go for regular push-ups or you can have your hands elevated. Then we're gonna go into our palloff press. Tall kneeling position, nice and in line. Make sure that the body stays rigid. Do not let that little band pull you out of position. 10 on the one side, 10 on the other side. Again, if you don't have a band, just skip this part and just do split squats and push-ups. That is a lethal combination in itself. So enjoy. Okay, it's about 2 minutes, so we know we have about 3 rounds. Well, I know I have about 3 rounds. We'll see how you go. All right. Now, if you have a weight of some sort, of course you can use it. On the last round, I'll show you some more options so you know how to progress this. If this gets a little bit easier next week, for instance. Keep those hips nice and level. All right, feet elevated push-ups, 10 reps. Keep it tight and keep those shoulders down. They're always fun. And then we have our tall kneeling palloff press. I always call it the palloff press. I know some people don't like it, and they call it the anti-rotational band press. That's kind of a mouthful right there. All right. Now, we have about 80 seconds left. If you do have a weight, Here are a few options. Option 1, just have that kettlebell in front of you. Option 2, do a suitcase split squat. Have the kettlebell on the side of the knee that's traveling downwards. And option 3, do a overhead version of that. So you just pick whatever option suits you better. 10 on the one, and then 10 on the other. Always feels good. We've got time for another set of push-ups. And time. All right, guys, good job getting through that first one. So a few things about that, right? Especially if you don't have a band and you're not doing the kneeling palloff presses, that's gonna get pretty tough with the split squats and the push-ups. Pretty tough, pretty quick. And this, what we're after, is really just trying to attack those muscles. So in this case, the quads, and of course, chest and core on the push-ups. So you're trying to stimulate those big muscle groups to gain a little bit of mass, give them something they're not used to, and by gaining a little bit of mass, that's pretty much what toning is, right? You want to increase the muscle mass and want to drop down the fat mass. That's toning. Now we've got another circuit, another 6 minutes to go. And here, the exercises are going to be prisoner squats, just a squat with the hands behind the head, elbows pulled back. Then we have feet elevated side plank with a knee in. It's going to be 5 on one side, 5 on the other side. I will show you. And then we have some hamstring walkouts also for 5. So, the prisoner squats kind of makes sense right here. Actively squeeze those elbows back. It's one of the ways we can get a little bit of upper back activation. Squat all the way down, all the way back up, 10 reps. Now we have, again, the feet elevated. Let's go put this right around here. So one way of making those side planks a little harder is elevate the feet. And then we're gonna bring that top knee forward. 5 on the one side, then we're going to turn around and do 5 on the other side. Last exercise, hamstring walkout. We have done these before. You're going to lift the hips in that glute bridge position, actively squeeze, keep them up, and then small steps, walking out. If you can walk out until your legs are straight, but your butt's still off the ground, that's great. If you can't quite get there, you feel that this is as far as you can go, that's fine. Just keep going with those small steps. Again, our goal here is to attack those big muscle groups. So squats, of course, all about the quads, glutes, hamstrings, side plank knee-ins. Let's get that core stability, and the hamstring walkouts. We just want to get the glutes and the hamstrings. So that's where we want to feel it. So don't feel that you have to do as many rounds as you possibly can. Just do it controlled, get the most out of the exercises. I hope that makes sense. It's good to have a timer, it's really good. 10 seconds before we get started with the prisoner squats. 3, 2, 1, and go. What I want you to focus on is staying upright. So elbows are back, chest is up, drop your hips straight down. The more upright you are, the more quadsies we're gonna get. And we have our side plank knee-ins. So feet on top of each other, hips on top of each other, shoulder blades on top of each other, and then nice and slow, nice and controlled. Five. Good. Keep those hips high. All right, hamstring walkouts, also for 5. If you do those nice and slow, controlled, with the hips up, they become hard pretty quickly. Back into your prisoner squats. Stack it on top of each other, that pure side plank position. Imagine there's a wall right in front and behind, so you can't rotate here. Make sure those hips stay up, guys. No droppage at all. They're always fun. Just over halfway, keep working. Slow through this one, guys. Keep those hips up, keep the hips still. So I don't want to see the hips wiggle from side to side. It's not our game. Strong. Feel my hamstrings on those. All right, prisoner squats. 2 minutes to go. One round, maybe one and a bit. Balance. Ooh. Oh. I can feel those. 1 minute to go. Slow and controlled. It's not about speed. One thing that can really help with this exercise, think about tucking your tail under. So keep that pelvis tucked. Squeeze your butt. "15 seconds to go." And time. Now, I love it when I get messages from you guys saying like, "Oh, I got this many rounds, I got this many rounds." This is not for speed. I hope I made that clear. Do it well, do it slow, do it control. Challenge those muscles to do the work. Make it hard by maybe going a little bit slower, maybe squeezing a little bit harder. All right, let's do some stretching. First stretch we're gonna do, Samson stretch. Always know it's time to cool down is when the hoodie comes off. All right, Samson stretch. Longer lunge, tuck the tail, lean into it, and from there reach overhead and to the side. So if your left knee is down, you're reaching over to the right to get that whole side longer. Switch sides. As always, if you need to hold this longer, hold it longer, it's fine. Like I quite like holding my hip flexor stretch for a little bit longer. Although in this one, my shoulders just get tired. Break dancer. Knees. One leg straight, the other leg is bent, and we're gonna work our way forward. Try to stretch the hamstring. Maybe you feel a little bit in the calf. Like ideally it's hamstring. What I talked about before. It's fine if you want to reach. I feel if I reach, I'm just rounding from my back, and it's not adding anything to the hamstring stretch. So I try to stay nice and upright and just slowly start tilting that pelvis more forward when the muscle starts giving way a little bit. So it's not wrong to reach and hold, but I just know for me that I'm just using my back to do it instead of moving forward from the hips. Guys, hear the dog in the background, pushing that bowl around like a champ. Now, we talked about this before, but as far as stretching goes, you really want to keep the breath into the stomach. You own the position where you can take a full breath into the stomach, and then you can move forward a little bit. With these stretches, we're not after getting to the point where you start doing the gasping for air and you can't breathe in, or you start breathing into the neck or shoulders. You want to use that diaphragm to breathe. All right. Internal rotation of the shoulders. So you're going to be lying on your side, arm in line with the shoulder. I actually like having my shoulder a little bit forward here, just so I know I'm not cheating. Bend the arm, and then slowly, gently push that hand towards the ground. You're about back of your shoulder should remain on the ground. Like if this happens, shoulder is up, we're no longer stretching the right parts. So, there it is. I have pretty much full range of motion here. If we can get, even if you get the fingers to the ground, you're doing okay. If you get your whole forearm flat on the ground, that would be a full score. Now, as you can see, I'm pretty far off from there. Which means it's okay for me to do this stretch. If your forearm is flat on the ground, don't do this stretch. You already have enough range of motion and you need to work on stability through the shoulders. Stability and mobility, or stability and flexibility, are two sides of the coin. So some people have a lot of flexibility, but not a lot of movement in a joint, or not a lot of stability in a joint. A lot of people are very stable, but not very mobile. It's a continuum, so you're usually somewhere on that spectrum, and one joint can be different than the next. So for me, the mobility I have in my hamstrings is really good. So I don't stretch my hamstrings. The mobility I have in my hip flexors, in the front of my hip, not so good. So I spend more time working on the front and the back. My shoulder mobility in an overhead position is really good. Olympic lifting, I lift overhead for a couple of decades, and yeah, you can lift overhead pretty well. So stability wise, that's where I can work on a little bit, but I don't need to do a lot of overhead stretching. All right, guys, that is it for your Tuesday workout. If nobody's told you today, you're an absolute legend. I'll talk to you tomorrow.